You can get way more money for your business if you just understand the 4 steps to get funding stacking. Look, one of the biggest mistakes I see business owners make is they're trying to get all their money from one source. They're trying to get a startup loan for 50 grand from one lender. They're trying to get $1 million for expansion from one other lender. But you really want to use funding stacking to be able to tap into the entire banking system, to be able to get mass approvals in a short period of time. If you do this, you will get considerably more money and your approvals will continue to get higher and higher and higher because you're actually leveraging one lender against the other. There's 4 steps to do this. I'm going to decode them right now. Step number 1 is you need to develop your strategy. With funding stacking, we are ultimately going to be getting money from a lot of different lenders, and you need to determine in step 1 which lenders you're going to actually go apply with. Now, we can do this by looking at the top 3 tiers of the banking system. Tier 1 are big banks. They're national banks, right? They're like Bank of America and Chase, for example. Tier 2 are regional banks. These are banks that are unique in your region. You probably can think about them. You probably pass them as you're driving down the road. Bank of Tampa is an example where I am here in downtown Tampa. Now, Tier 3 are credit unions, like Navy Federal Credit Union, for example. Again, you're probably familiar with the credit unions in your local community. Now, Tier 4, subprime lenders, we don't even need to worry about them when it comes to funding stacking. So now that we know this tiering system, now we can start developing our plan. And we want to really be able to find 2 to 5 of these lenders in our area that we want to actually move forward with and apply with. So that really comes down to what's convenient for you, right? You want to find banks that are easy for you to actually get to. So for example, in downtown here, I have Regions, I have Bank of America, I have Chase. Those are very easy for me to get to. So those would make my list of national banks. So make your list of 2 to 5 sources on the national side, the regional side, and the credit union side that you actually want to apply with. Now, if you don't just pass the regional banks, just do a quick Google search. Hey, regional banks in Tampa, and you'll pull up a massive list of ones that can work for you. So you pick your 2 top 2 or 5, and that makes up step 1. Now, step 2, you want to go open accounts with each one of them. You want to at least open up a business checking account with each one of these banks. Now, banks have an internal credit scoring called a bank rating that they'll use to actually rate how likely you are to get money. And that bank rating gets higher if you have multiple accounts open with that bank. So having a checking account, a savings account, and a money market account is more valuable to that bank than you just having a checking account. But you want to at least get started with nothing less than having a checking account open with that bank. Look, it only costs like 25 or 50 bucks to open a lot of business bank accounts. So it doesn't cost a lot of money to do this, but you definitely need to start the relationship by going in, meeting and talking to an actual banker, and starting to set up your actual bank account, at least a checking account with that bank. That brings me to step 3 of the process. You need to season that account, and there's really 2 parts to that. Number 1, you really need to not apply for anything until you've had that bank account open for 90 days. Now, you can definitely get money if you have it open for less, but you're going to maximize your approvals if you have it open for 90 days. And during that 90 days, you want to be running money through that account. Take some money out, put some money in. They want to see consistently that you're using that account. They don't want to see that you just open an account and that it's sitting there. They want to see that you opened a business account and you actually have activity on that account. You have withdrawals, you have deposits. They want to see that activity. Now, once you've done so, now we're in 90 days in, now we're to the final step of the process. And the final step of the process, step 4, is a mass apply step. Now what we want to do is we want to go to each one of those banks and we want to mass apply at all of them the exact same day. Now, oftentimes you may be able to apply for a loan, a credit line, or a credit card, or sometimes all 3 with that bank. Sometimes you can apply with some banks and get multiple credit cards instead of just one. It's a good idea to actually talk to your banker. That's why you set up the relationship to begin with. Hey, I'm a newer business. Hey, here's my scenario. What are the best options you have? Loan, credit line, and credit cards, and let them map out the best options for you. Now, on the mass application day, we want to go to every one of these sources and we want to mass apply for the top 1, 2, 3 programs that we really feel confident we can get based on our discussions with that business banker. Now, if you've done so, now you're coming out and getting sometimes 20 to 50 approvals in that same day. Sometimes the approvals are for $2,000 or $5,000. Sometimes they're for $10,000. Sometimes they're for even more. And if you followed this strategy, then you more than likely have ended up with hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. Once you get the inquiries cleaned up on your credit report and they season a little where they're more than 6 months old, you can even repeat the process and get even more funding. Look, this is the smartest way for you to get maximum funding for your business because you're tapping into a relationships with a lot of different lenders and having them give you what they're comfortable giving you instead of trying to press them all to get the money from one source. And this strategy is repeatable, right? You can do this every 6 months and get more and more funding to grow your business. Hey, at Credit Suite, we help you improve your fundability, build your business credit, and get financing. So if we can help you anywhere along the way, let us know. And if you got value from this training, make sure you like and subscribe and keep your eye out for our next training. We'll talk about more cool ways to get the money you need to start and grow your business.